Hey guys, I don't know if anybody's here, but hello. Oh, two people are here. Hi, people. I'm trying to share the link to this now. What's up, Clara? How did I know you were going to be here? All right, shared the link, so now I can actually pay attention to y'all. Oh no. There we go. Hi, four people. Hi, Dean. How's it going? I had a massive issue holding me up at work. If anybody who is a developer was working today and understands what happened with Amazon and S3, it was a big headache. And yeah. Hi, Victoria. Creepy. Clara. Yeah, true. So, how are you doing, Victoria? How is Kentucky? Dean, I don't think we've talked before, but thanks for showing up and yeah, hanging out. Slowly climbing up, 7 viewers now. My family hasn't showed up yet, which is crazy, but Tennessee, that's right. Kentucky, Tennessee, it's all the same to people who aren't from those. No, I'm just kidding. Right next door. Knoxville, maybe? I don't know. What are your guys' plans for this beautiful Tuesday evening? I don't think, I've been to a lot of Tennessee and I've been to a lot of Kentucky. I don't think I've ever been to Knoxville. But it does look very nice in your videos, so. K-Town. Aren't there a lot of K-Town? Well, Knoxville. Yeah, there's not a lot of K-Towns in Tennessee. I lied. Ooh. Clara, are you excited to go live for the Read React Repeat stream on Thursday? Going live in twice in a week, which is too much. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, which may or may not be the home of road construction. They've been working on the same road since I was a baby. Never know when it's going to be done. I think it's just to keep people employed. So I'm used to road construction. 75 doesn't run through Knoxville, does it? Because 75 is the road they're always working on. And I know it goes south, but I don't know to where. Did anybody in the chat have to deal with Amazon's issues today? Or are all of your guys' websites? Victoria, you have a website. Is yours still up and running? I really heard how that worked out either. Also, has anybody seen the movie Get Out? The Jordan Peele movie? I've only heard good things. Of course, my book won. Did you get your book yet, Clara? I haven't gotten mine yet. Maybe I should do that this evening at some point. But I could be like a cool kid like Cam and order it online. Yeah, 75. 75 is like a consistent form of construction in the Dayton area, and it's the worst. And yeah, but we always take 71 south, like if we're going to Florida or something. So never been to Knoxville. You're excited that the book's in your possession, Claire. I don't lie. This whole live streaming thing alone is like super concerning because I can't just not make noise and have your cam show up on the screen. And you are upset that I picked it, Clara. Classic. Classic you. I've seen like 6 or 7 viewers cycle in and out, and only 3 people have said anything. So if you're there, feel free to wave. And if anybody has any questions, I guess that's why we're here, right? Valid point, Clara. I understand why you don't live stream alone, dude. You were going to, though, didn't you? You had like a Twitter poll for 1500, whether you're going to live QA, which would have been sweet. That's what I voted for. I like how I have a little like crown in the comments thing. I've never had that before because it's always been Clara's stream. No. Feedback. That makes me sad, Clara. You should expand. I think it's like, what, like 7 in the morning for Cam right now, so it's way too early for him. It's probably not the best time to be streaming, to be honest. People just getting off work and stuff on the East Coast, and then everybody else is still in business hours, but is this what it feels like to be like on YouTube, or not YouTube, but like Instagram Live? Like if I went on Instagram Live, I'm pretty sure it would just be like people staring, or like me staring at the camera, because I know like 2 people on Instagram. Oh no. People are going crazy at work right now. This is the biggest headache day I've had at work. I keep getting random people just hitting me up because everything is broken when it comes to our website, and I don't have a good way to fix it. Hi, Brandon. And Clara, you were like super late. You said you'd start the questions, and then somebody hopped right in there and stole your thunder a little bit. But Brandon, I would say the way that I started learning JavaScript, the first like big resource that I used was Codecademy. It's not the greatest resource in the world. It's not my learning style even, but it at least let me know like what a variable was and what like a loop was. And it got me familiar with a bunch of terminology. Um, Past that, like if you're looking to spend a little bit of money, Treehouse is very good, and it is a monthly subscription, so that does cost money. Or there's also this website called Udemy, and they have a bunch of different courses. I'm currently taking a course on Udemy to learn React and Redux because I didn't know it before this. And if you find a good class there, like taught by a good instructor, it's really useful. I took a course on there called JavaScript Understanding the Weird Parts, which probably wouldn't be a good first course for you. Like be able to like make a simple app with JavaScript before you take that one. But it's really good on the like computer science and theory side of it. And then yeah, like just follow, like there are a lot of pretty decent tutorials on YouTube and stuff like that for JavaScript. I would make sure that you vet like a YouTube tutorial to make sure it's still up to date and that it's still relevant, because things change so quickly. Also, I'll put it in the chat here. Wes Voss has a class called JavaScript 30, which is 30 challenges, 30 challenges that you're supposed to do over 30 days. And it's all vanilla JavaScript, and it's using like ES6 syntax. It's super awesome. I've been working through them periodically. It's really good. Clara jumping in with 3 questions right after that. So what's my favorite movie of all time? My favorite movie of all time is a Korean movie called Old Boy. It's a revenge movie, and it's amazing. Hi, Holly. Thanks for the congrats. If I had to choose one genre to read for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? That's a hard question. I would say, I'd probably say like mystery, or like, no, I would say action, because there's so many, like action can go in so many ways. Like there are action comedy books, there are action thriller books. You can kind of like subdivide action a lot better than you can if you just went like comedy. But yeah, I would say action, and then you could pick which flavor you wanted to get you through. And then, where in the world would you like to travel most? I want to go everywhere. That's the problem. I want to travel, like I want to see everything. And yeah, I really want to check out Southeast Asia, like Thailand and Singapore and Cambodia. I want to go to South America, like Ecuador, Peru. Those kind of places seem really cool. I'd love to check out the Middle East. My wife's family is from Lebanon, so I would love to go there and see that. Saudi Arabia and Dubai, everything. London would be really cool. I could hang out with Holly over in England. What would your answer be then, Clara, if you had to pick? Brandon, to answer your question, for the Wes Boss challenge, I think you could start that today, not knowing a whole lot about JavaScript. What you need to know to do any of these courses that aren't like beginner courses is make sure you know what a variable is and what a loop is and what an array is and what an object is. If you don't have familiarity with like just like the basics of JavaScript, like those like core vocabulary words, then try the Codecademy course to just acclimate yourself to those like code vocabulary or core vocabulary words. Holly, you don't live in like London though, right? You live somewhere in the Midlands of England. Also, I don't know if I asked you, but Holly, what would your answer to number 2 be? And to continue answering number 3, the only place in the world that I definitely know I don't want to go is Vermont. They have like maple syrup trucks spill and stuff like that. It just seems weird. We're up to 10 viewers. Hi, new people. My cat just saw something outside and decided that he was going to jump and go crazy for it. Clara, I will take it back if you answer your question number 2. I feel like you should just pick Sarah J. Maas / Cassandra Clare as your genre. I know that's not a genre, but like for you, it probably is. Hello. I I'm not even gonna try to touch your name, man. I'm sorry, but it's just like I will ruin it. So if you like want to put the phonetic spelling in the chat, I'll try. But yeah, but hello. Thanks for coming. How are you doing today? You would go fantasy. That's nice. Fantasy is a good genre. Hi, Chris. I kind of thought the first part would come out, Chrissy, but don't know. Uh, yeah, Brandon, I do front end stuff. That's what I went to school for. So that's what I know now. I did do work in Ruby, not like work, but I learned Ruby and I built an API using Sinatra just to get my like toes wet with Ruby. I didn't hate it. It's what they use at work for the backend side of things. My next big challenge after React is Node, and I want to learn Node so I can build a backend for the app that I want to make in React, which is an app idea that I've had for a couple months now that I've just kind of been playing around in my head. So React, Node, and like the MERN stack. It's MongoDB, Express, React, and then Node. So I don't know that I want to ever get into a position where my job is doing backend stuff, but I wouldn't mind knowing it to be more employable and be able to be like a full stack engineer. But I enjoy the front end more. Everyone, yeah, that is true. Everywhere is like, how long does it take you to drive from like north to south, like the very top of England or the United Kingdom to the very south of the United Kingdom? Because it's definitely smaller than the US. Um, and I can understand high fantasy. There's like a good mix of things in there too. You can pick, you can at least pick something in that genre between whatever your mood is feeling. People keep cycling in. Hi, new people. Hi, new people. What? I'm gonna look that up. I know you're probably looking it up right now, Holly, but now I'm super intrigued. Although I don't really know what the most north city in England is, but how long to drive north to south? Okay. How long does it take to drive? About 8 hours. That's pretty crazy. That is 8 hours from the top of England to the bottom of England, which is the same drive as me from where I live now to where I'm from, which is not even like a quarter of the way across the country. Hi, thumbs up or down. Did you ask me about the Dev Bootcamp Udemy course on like through Gmail? Because if you did, I actually have that tab still open because it's pretty interesting. And I kind of want to take a deeper dive, look into like all the stuff they cover and read some of the reviews to maybe get a better understanding of it. Because that would be like a really good course to recommend on my channel. Hi Gus, welcome along. How are you doing today? Um, I hate you, Will. Will Thrill 90. That's the worst screen name ever. Chris, you're asking, did you learn from courses and roots or more like old school? If you're talking about development, I learned in person, like in a class. I went to a coding boot camp. So I didn't go to college for it, but I learned like in person. Although I didn't write on paper much at all, except for to like wireframe out sites and stuff like that. Your guess was really good, Holly. It's 8. Why do you avoid the top of Scotland is the question. Dean, you're here to distract yourself from writing. That's not good, man. Dean, what are you currently working on in your writing? You can fit, hold on. Oh, the UK can fit into Texas 3 times. I once drove across Texas, and it's a very, very big place. Yeah, like Free Code Camp, Chris, is like a really good resource. Me personally, I had to like stop my life, drop money on a boot camp so that I would like motivate myself to learn it. Like I tried to mess around online and like learn all I could online before I decided to go to a boot camp, and it just the motivation and kind of the like I don't know, having somebody like be there to hold you accountable to like learn this in this many days. I couldn't do it. Nice thumbs up or down. I enjoy the fact that you're enjoying it. And yeah, it looks like super comprehensive, and it's something like 40 hours of material, which is crazy. When I buy like a Udemy course and it's like when it's like 3 hours or like 5 hours, I'm like, this is a long time. Also, thumbs up, correct me if I'm wrong, but is your name Abdullah from Gmail or no? Gus, how did I get interested in web development? And yeah, Raleigh's a fun time. I live in Durham, like kind of close to the Raleigh-Durham border, and I like it a lot. I've only ever been to Fayetteville, like I drove through it once, but just found this like really awesome ropes course that's in Fayetteville uh, that my wife found. So I think I'm gonna make a trip down there. But I originally got into development because I had an idea for an app a little while ago, and I wanted to build it, and I didn't know how. So I kind of talked to some people who I knew who coded, and they gave me some advice and some places to go, stuff like that. And that's where the whole like I was trying to learn and didn't really get held accountable for it, and went to a boot camp. And then once I started to like really learn how to code, it only made me like more interested in it because it exercises like the creative part of your brain and all of that stuff, which I've always been into. I have a degree in creative writing, so I like to like create stuff. So yeah, that's how I got in there. What was oh, great question, Will. So my first AIM handle, this is really bad. My first AIM handle was Evil Project '06. And my one after that was even worse, which was My Heart's Weapon X, because I'm so cool. Dean, that sounds really cool. That sounds really cool. Scientific telling of vampirism in the 21st century. Like I can get down with that. I will beta read if you want somebody. Holly, I fancy mountains. I like mountains a lot. Um, Planning on going to vocational university. Yeah, like a 2-year degree. That's you can say vocational university or like tech school. Um, Brandon, where do you live? It would really depend on what your market is and how people hire there, whether they're going to be into you only having a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree or graduating from a boot camp or being self-taught. So if yeah, you don't mind sharing like kind of maybe like where you live, then I could maybe give you a little bit more advice on that. I know I am dark and deep. Well, thank you. Hi, Tyler. How are you? Are you with Cresta and Paul and Taraya and Trevin? Because if you are, tell them I said what's up too. I did. I had an X in my aim handle. Fun fact. So the aim handle had an X at the end, and it would have had an X at the beginning, but it was too long, so I had to cut one letter. So I cut the X at the beginning. Yeah, I'm such a badass. Hi, Captain Alpha. Do you have to enter a computer science school to get a degree and to join a company as a full stack engineer? You don't. Most places. It depends on where you live. Like I was telling Brandon, but like honestly, a lot of the tech scene, at least in the States, is not really super dependent upon a degree. If you can code and you can code well and you fit in with what like the vibe they're looking for, then that's all you really need. So I don't have a degree in web development or anything like that, and I have a job in it. So and I have a good job that's like with an actual tech company, and I'm not just like fixing bugs all day and just like being like a code monkey. Like I really do like real work. So it is possible. Jasmine, what are you saying we no to? Don't be angry because The Hobbit didn't win. That's awesome, Dean. That is awesome. Thanks for congrats, Jasmine. Let's see. Gus, Durham is awesome. I like Durham a lot. Have you had time while you were learning where you stopped for a while and didn't pick it up again after a while? Uh, yeah, so I haven't had a like specific point where I haven't coded at all because I joined the boot. I mean, other than when I first started, because I like messed around on Codecademy, then took 3 months off and then joined the boot camp. So the boot camp lasted 12 weeks. I had a month in between the boot camp and when I started my job, and I did code for that month. And then I like been coding the whole time since I started working. Now I haven't picked up like Angular since I graduated from the boot camp. I haven't even looked at Angular since then. But I will say that using another one of my pastimes, which is writing as a like crutch there, um, if things are so much harder to jump back into once you set them down for a second, and that goes with anything, right? Like if you're a baseball player and you stop playing baseball for 3 months, you're not like it's going to take you some ramp up time. Like you got to get back into game shape. Same thing with coding because a lot of it is muscle memory and like general like memory. So my suggestion would be maybe just like do like a little coding exercise every day. It doesn't have to be anything big, but there's something called, and I'll put it in the chat. It's a Project Euler, and I'm probably going to spell this wrong, but they have little coding challenges that you can do, and they can take 5 minutes or 30 minutes depending upon which one you pick. But they're just cool to keep your brain kind of thinking in that way. My book won, Mom, and Holly, the book that won was Dark Matter, which once again was my book and not Clara's or Cam's. Also, thanks, Jasmine, for throwing that in there. How awesome is Stockholm? I want to know how awesome Stockholm is too, to be honest, Brandon. So, Brandon, since I don't know like where I would even start to look at Stockholm to find a job, we have a website called Indeed, and I don't know if you have that there, but find like the job website that places are like posting to, and just look at job postings. Does every job posting for a junior web developer ask for a degree? And if it does, then that may be something you want to look into. Or does it ask for a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree? Just do that research on the market, and that way you can kind of tailor your education to what's going to actually get you hired. Let's see. So Abdul, for me, I don't actually have anyone above me. So I'm the only web developer on staff at the company that I'm at. So I take care of the website and all the functionality of the website. And I'm the only one there. So I am heavily involved in the creative process when it comes to like design and layout. I am the only one who codes for it. I am in charge of making sure that it's that it's deployed and taken care of properly. So I don't really have anybody that's just like pushing work on me. When I start working on the app side of things at my company, I will have people obviously who are in charge, but we don't have anybody there who's like a QA engineer, which is like a fancy term for somebody who you give like bugs to. Oh God. So to alienate even more people in my life, Holly, I have not watched or read Harry Potter, but I have taken the quiz on Pottermore and I am a Slytherin. Guess it's okay. You don't have to be scared. It's also like riding a bike where you pick it up. Like, I mean, you may have to look up what like string methods or array methods are, but you'll pick it up again like really quickly. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Oh, thanks, Krishan. Shouts out to Krishan. If you are a developer and you're at my channel and you don't know who Krishan is, he is also an awesome YouTuber who does awesome development videos. So like search him or click on his name if you can do that to get to his channel, because he is also awesome and does some amazing videos on the same kind of stuff that I do. Of course, I'm a Slytherin. I know. I'm sorry, Jasmine. I'm sorry. Okay, so I take it back. So this is awkward. I have read the first two Harry Potter books, and I read part of the third one, but it was when I was like in the fourth grade, and I'm 70 years old, so that was a long time ago, and I really don't remember them. But I do want to get back into it. Maybe I will pick the first Harry Potter book for Read, React, Repeat next month. Brandon, thank you. Thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that. Hi, Philip, fellow Slytherin. I think that means we're courageous and like stubborn, right? People are gonna get mad at me again. Abdul, how many times did I doubt myself in the learning process? I still doubt myself. It's like a big problem when it comes to like this sort of thing because it's all on you. And I doubted myself a lot. The reason why I didn't even think about coding before I got into code was because I didn't think that I could do it because I thought I needed math and like to understand calculus. And it's like led up the whole way. Like we would get homework at the boot camp and I would look at it and I'd be like, holy shit, there's no way I'm ever going to finish this. And then you find a way to do it. And that still happens at work. Like sometimes I'll get a task and I'm like, there's no way I can do this. And then you just power through and you figure it out. And there are so many people out there who can like help you. And there's so many resources online, in person, like at a company that you end up at, or like a school that you're at, or in the community on like Udemy and stuff like that. I mean, you'll get taken care of. And how did I plow through? I promise this is a true story. Every time I ever like hit a major blocker in code while I was in school or at work, like if I'm stubborn to where I only want to be the one to do it, I will put on like gangster rap. Like I'm talking like Dr. Dre or like Snoop or Jay-Z, like old school like gangster rap, and just like sit at the computer and be like, we about to do this. And I mean, it works for me. I don't know. Let's see. That Sweden needs lots of web devs. So if Sweden needs lots of web devs, I'm not opposed to moving to Sweden if you know anybody over there. Hello, E. Thanks for the congratulations. The technical interview process, this is always a fun topic, man. So I had a couple of different technical interviews, and how long they were depended upon the company. So I had one that was like 2.5 hours. The company that I ended up at, I was there for 4.5 hours, like from the beginning of the day to lunchtime. And it wasn't super technical, but I think like what's good enough to pass. I think good enough to pass if you're applying for like a junior level position isn't that you're going to have everything right the first time. Because I still look up string methods, and like senior level developers still look up like simple methods, because you're not going to have all of that knowledge up here. But what they're looking for is that you have the right kind of like brain mechanics when it comes to this sort of stuff, that you're like thinking through problems and you can think about things logically and you'll get there eventually. A lot of places don't even make you actually code. It's like pseudocode. And they just want to see like what your problem solving method is and the steps you would take to get somewhere. I think the biggest thing when it comes to a tech interview is to not be like overly nervous and kind of shut down, which is hard to do. It's hard to think about. And I know I was nervous going into my first one, my second one, my third one. Like it's hard to get over that, but just understand that like you know what you're doing, and make sure they understand how your brain works, because that's what they're really looking to see. Jasmine, that would be really funny if Clara and I picked the same book just to spite Cam. Chris, I would be down to do a collab sometime, homie. Let me know. Yeah, we should hit each other up because that would be pretty cool. Merlin was a Slytherin? Dude, Merlin's a badass, so I'm cool with that. So what if you want to work at a company as a mobile developer? So I don't know a ton about mobile development, but I do know that there are boot camps for iOS and Android development, and you can use like a lot of the same tools to make mobile apps. Like you can use React to make mobile apps too. But I would say you don't necessarily have to have a college degree. It's all about the market, right? I would go on Indeed if you're in the States and look up to see what the market is for mobile developers where you live. And if it's not there, someplace that you'd maybe be willing to move to, and see if you have to have a 4-year degree, or if they're fine like just looking at code and making sure you know what you're doing. Because you don't, like, for me, a 4-year degree wouldn't have been useful because I was older when I got into this, and I would have spent 4 years learning something. And then, like, even in the amount of time it took me to learn code, I was in a boot camp for 12 weeks. And by the end of the 12 weeks, Angular 1 had deprecated. React had kind of taken over, and the jobs for Angular 1 are still there, but they're less prevalent than they were when the boot camp started. It switches so fast, like universities don't necessarily keep up with that. And like one of the biggest universities in town, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, so UNC, they just actually started a developer boot camp because they realized that, one, it's like useful, and two, there's a demand for it. So Slytherins equal ambition, aiming high, resourcefulness. I mean, I that's cool. I'm sure there are bad things that go with Slytherin too, aren't there? Yeah, Krishan puts out some dope stuff. I don't. So, Chris, I listen to hip hop all the time, but like when I code, I don't know why, but it's like it gets me going. It's almost like like I wouldn't even mind if there weren't any words. I guess it's the beats and like kind of that, like you get in that groove of things. But what do you think of Khan Academy for filling gaps if you are missing certain things that you need in math? So I haven't looked into Khan Academy that much, but I do know there are, like, a lot of people swear by it, but I don't know enough about it to give you a good answer there. And Brandon, like, to talk off Gus's point about needing developers, like just about everywhere needs developers. Like it's a high demand job, like for a really good reason, because it's new and not everybody went to school for it, like accounting or something like that. So how rare are jobs working from distance or over Skype? It depends. I think like there are a lot of like remote jobs in the US, but you have to be US based, not overseas. And then obviously there's always freelance work, and there's a ton of freelance work that you could possibly do. Um, so I mean, if you're thinking about going that route, freelance is always an option too. Marina and the Diamonds. I don't know who they are, but I will check them out. But Brandon, if you're in Stockholm, that's like a pretty big, that's a pretty big like metro area. I would assume that like the job market would be decent there. Search for SoundCloud for a rapper named C Dabs. That's interesting to check that out. Do I plan to eventually make mobile apps? Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to learn React, was because of React Native. And the thing that I want to build next, like my app idea that I'm trying to do on the side, should be a mobile app and a web app. So that's the next thing. Yeah, Chris, I have a social media on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at 937Aaron. And anybody else, feel free to follow me. It's right there. And oh, Pwn Master. Hi, Pwn Master. But yeah, dude, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. Just started learning this past Friday. Brandon, you're still early in this, but you're gonna get there. You done messed up, AA Ron. You done messed up. Hold on, Victoria. You're a Campbell grad, which is fine. But like, why would you say ooh UNC? Because I feel like they're not like, are they rivals? Like, does Campbell not like UNC? If there's some beef there, I don't know about. But I'm a UNC grad by like osmosis because my wife is a UNC grad 2 times over. Also, is Campbell's mascot really camels? Because that's amazing. Yeah, Jasmine put it in there. You done messed up a run. Podmaster, you're probably already better at coding than I am. Jaden, how would a teen become a web developer? Man, if you're like just starting to like learn how to code, just make like a website for yourself or have an idea for an app and do the Codecademy thing. And then if your high school or something offers coding courses, by all means take them. If they don't, look into like Treehouse and stuff like that, and just start learning and set yourself up for the time by the time you're 18 to be able to go out there and maybe apply for some stuff. Ooh, Campbell tried to charge me for 2 classes. Yeah, Campbell. I don't know anything about it, to be honest. There is a slight delay on the chat from the live stream. I get the chat messages like when I respond to something in the chat, it's going to take it a while to actually get to the live stream. What projects are good to include in your portfolio when you're applying for a front-end junior position? Remix, I would say like anything that you're proud of. And don't be afraid to like put up some of your early work in your portfolio as long as it functions and there's nothing like bad about it. Some of your early work and then like what you're doing right now to put in your portfolio and be like, look, I started here and like I can now do this. For me, if I'm putting something in my portfolio, I usually want it to have 3 things, maybe 4. I want it to be dynamic, and I want it to be functional. I don't want there to be any like super obvious bugs, like edge cases and stuff like that. You don't have the time to QA it like a company does. So I want it to be dynamic and functional. I want it to have some sort of bigger functionality than just like a drop down menu. So that could be like authorization or like API requests, AJAX calls, something like that. And then I want it to be responsive. Make sure that it's built for the modern web where it looks good on all screens and stuff like that. Those are kind of the big 4 things that I'd want in a project that I was putting on my portfolio for a junior job. Alternating between Codecademy, Udemy, SoloLearn. I don't know SoloLearn. I have to check that out. I think Codecademy is a good source to start. And then Udemy, like I said, hammer those out, like those Udemy courses out for like very specific things that you want to. Victoria, you're a softball player, so you hate all NC schools. I gotcha. You're really the fighting camels? Like, has there ever been a camel at Campbell University? I mean, I guess it's a play on words, but Abdul, absolutely. Knowing Git, like the command line interface Git, and then GitHub as a tool are huge for getting a job. Like every company uses them now. It's the modern way of like doing controlling, like version control. Learning Git and GitHub are very important. And if you like, I think Codecademy has a Git tutorial, and you should know the command line. Those are super duper important. Draco Malfoy, not Scorpius. I don't understand that reference. See these Harry Potter things? I don't know. Jasmine, if you need help understanding how to drink tea while it's still hot, you can talk to Clara because I hear she's really good at that. There was a play. All right, guys, so it's 6:20 now, and I have to go very, very soon. So if anybody has any like last minute questions, I have to get out of here by like 6:25 and run away. So I really appreciate everybody coming to this little hangout. And yeah, if anybody has any last minute questions, feel free to put them in there now. Also, yeah, Gus, I've heard a lot of good things about Free Code Camp. It's not something that I've checked out a lot, but I remember people putting that in like the comments of my free resources for web developer videos. No, Brandon, I know that feeling because like the first time I put up like a website with HTML and CSS and it still looked like it was like from 1996. I was like, I'm a wizard. I can do this. Like, let's go make freaking Facebook or whatever it was. I understand. It's addictive. It really, really is. Spend a lot of time driving. Listen to YouTube tutorials. That's a good idea. Um, See, the only problem I have with YouTube tutorials, like I don't necessarily have a problem with them. You just want to make sure that you're getting the right ones because there are bad ones and there are old ones. Like really popular YouTube tutorials from 2012 might show up in your feed before like a really good one from this year, and things change so much. It's hard to keep up. What's one thing I wish I knew before joining the boot camp? Man, I really wish I would have spent more time doing the pre-work for the boot camp. It would have made my life a little bit easier in the early going. But there's not a whole lot that's going to prepare you for 12 weeks of, 10, 12-hour days coding. It's very intense. And I'm glad that I did the stuff that I did. But I could have spent a little bit more time with JavaScript to make my life a little bit easier to start. Clara isn't an app, but she could be. Thanks, Holly. You're so nice. Thanks, Victoria, and thank you. Yeah, that is true, Jaden. LearnCode.academy is another YouTube channel, and they're like really popular. But if you haven't heard of them, check them out. I was actually looking at their Redux tutorial. That's like fairly recent, and it's really good. And I don't know if it's all the same guy because that's the only one I've looked at, but it's really good. So check out LearnCode.academy. Yeah, Abdul, thank you for coming. Thank you for hanging out and asking questions and not making this super awkward and me just staring here talking to Clara back and forth. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. And this is obviously available to watch back if you want to check back on any of the questions that I answered or anything. But I appreciate you guys so much for coming out. And thank you for all of the things that you guys do for me, staying interactive and all of that stuff, because it's super awesome. And I will see you guys very soon. Bye.